Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're continuing our Mawaru Penguindrum journey here with episodes 19 and 20. 3 more weeks left of Penguindrum. Very excited to be continuing here after last week's shenanigans, debacle, whatever Tabuki was up to on top of that building. It was fucking mental, it was crazy stuff. Jumping straight in today with the YouTube comment, of course, here from Lazy Joe. Last week was fantastic. It was very good. I'm liking seeing how all the characters kind of mirroring each other and, as I say, folding in on each other as well. All their kind of shenanigans, again, coming to the fore here, all the things that they're doing for each other, against each other, to spite each other, to help each other, all that kind of stuff. It's really good. Episode 18 is directed and storyboarded by Shigeyasu Yamauchi. And if we pop over here to A&N, we can see what the great man has worked on. Seems like a lot of Dragon Ball. A lot of Dragon Ball in recent times. Some work on Saint Seiya there as well. On, what else do we have here? Xenosaga. Odd. Weird. Something called Dream Eater Mary. Dr. Slump, of course, and Kasha and Sins. I've heard good things about Kasha and Sins, actually. There you go. Okay, that's a something. Yeah, again, lots of stuff here for sure. I'm looking for more, I'm looking for more Ikuhara, but I couldn't see any Utena there. Yeah, no Utena. And I couldn't see any Yuri Bear Show, and I couldn't see any Sarazanmai. So, unsure. Just somebody that they brought in, I guess. Sure. Specifically here, this director has a distinctive style with a lot of close-up shots and Dutch angles. I even think, show the Kasha and Sins thing. That's like a close-up shot with like a Dutch angle. Weird. Interesting. Very cinematic, even if sometimes it's hard to tell where the characters are moving in relation to one another. We're going to leave that kind of stuff in last week. How the fuck did Tabuki catch Himari? Like, anyway, that was odd. Lots of bad parenting or dysfunctional families influencing the lives of pretty much every character in the show. That's kind of their connective tissue, I guess you could say. And again, like kind of the idea of fate in that, and fate being attached to your family and your circumstances. Again, it's only natural that that's the central kind of theme of the show, and that we address family so thoroughly because of that. The similarities between Tabuki and Miki have to be intentional. Tabuki's mum is also voiced by Hisakawa Aya, who was Miki in Utena, and obviously Sailor Mercury in Sailor Moon as well. Yeah, this would have to be intentional. It's almost like Tabuki is the natural extension upon this character. Like, if you're making this voice actor character's mother, it's almost like what that voice actress and her character in the previous show, what they represented, this character is the logical conclusion of Tabuki in the here and now. What if Miki remained unchecked, I guess, right? What if Miki didn't learn things through the runtime of Utena and change somewhat? And again, badminton scene aside, that shit's weird as hell. What if, yeah, I think that's kind of the natural extension here of Tabuki. Like, that's kind of exploring that concept in my opinion. But either way, we'll leave the comments there for today. I've got 2 episodes to watch. The idea is I'll watch these 2 now. I'll potentially return later tonight when it's cooled down a little bit, because these big sessions in my stuffy old room have been terrible. So kind of got to take a break sometimes there, or I'll come back tomorrow depending on if I feel super tired or not. But one group of people that aren't super tired are my patrons. Of course, if you give me $6 a month, you can have the episodes 1 week early, special privileges, poll stuff, Discord, all kinds of crap. So again, if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, it's linked in the description below. Many people have been interested, such as Mickey Babbers, Charles++, Banana Ramahama Damasama, Bobbin, Shobaribi, Dapper Dwarf, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Ferdinand Hernando, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Fusel, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Hans Peter, Ika, Inzuchi, Yanko Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Lick H, Lou, Marsh, Master Detective, Mistake L. Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nico Lane, Parnik, Pencil Sharp 333, Ragashingo, Ronlad B&K, St. Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Fueco, Warpv, Without a Net, Yuan Kai Shu, Yuki Ali, Zach, Akomancer, Binshi, Voodoo Chili, Funny Fat Guy, and Ice. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. And yeah, as I said before, we're kind of moving out of the Tabuki stuff. It seemed to me, my read was that kind of Yuri was disappointed in Tabuki for not going through with it. So we're going to see how that manifests now. Is Yuri going to have a bigger moment here where she kind of confronts the Hamari of it all and tries to get her revenge that way? Again, the children paying for the sins of the parents and that kind of central conceit coming through, I think. Natsume here wants to play hero a little bit and save the day. There was also some other influences about something she was going to do in the immediacy. It's all about saving people for Natsume. And again, we've talked about these kind of shows and saving people and what that may mean may not always be the be-all end-all of everything. For right now with the main characters, we've ended on a pretty nice note. We have kind of Ringo being embraced by the other three, or at least embracing them, seeing them as almost like her new family in a lot of ways in the kind of subtext, I think. And again, really making it clear to Shoma that he shouldn't need to feel guilty for what his father did to Ringo's sister, right? That is degrees of separation. You're a different person. It's important that Ringo's saying this, of course, because so much of her stuff early in the show is about her being a different person, or being the same person, I guess, and her coming to the realization that, hey, I'm not Momoko and you're not Kenzan, right? When we're very different in that regard. And we're different people. And her being the one to say that is, again, I think that's full of meaning. It's time for something to blow up. Something like that, akin to that. We need some. The shoe's got to drop at some point. Is my point. Like we've got to find out some more big picture stuff pretty soon. That's what I think we're going into. Maybe not this episode, but the following one. That's how I would time this thing out. But either way, only one way to find out. Let's jump in here with episode 19 of Mawaru Penguindrum. Friday, I've got episode 19 of Mawaru Penguindrum up. They're ready to go. 23 minutes and 41 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. There'll be a picture-in-picture version in the description below, and I'm using the DB file set for those that are interested. With all that said, let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Flashback, straight away. Kanba, a few days ago. It's a secret. The music is funny. Well, this isn't a flashback. This is just what just happened. Okay, so this is in the aftermath. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I did say it was time for the other kind of shooter drop, I guess. Multiple things. One, was that scene even real? Two, if it was real, how are they able to just like sit in a public location? Unless it's like owned by the organization or whatever the hell. How is that allowed? Much to consider. The music there was very nice. The music was very good. Very well musically directed. Kind of cutting the sound there when the reality of the situation came through along with the click. Now, here's the thing. Is Kamba the only one that knows as well? Or has that just been something that the audience has been made unaware of? So that means Tabuki had the right intel as well, that he was alive. Sure. shame, I guess. I know why. He became disgusted with himself and what he had become. I like this soundtrack a lot too. That was like a Swiss cheese key or something. Oh, and yeah, okay, he's left you too. Yeah, he's done. He came to that realization and he just left. Curry Day? On Curry Day. Well, you said that before. Well, that didn't work. That didn't work at all. Very somber episode thus far. Where did he even go? Well, where's the other half of the diary? The spell needed to transfer fate. Okay. Contrast. I'm sure she'll be healthy forever. Ooh, hell yeah. Catchy. Well, I am working a sketchy part-time job. Another visual metaphor there. We'll talk about it. What? Oh, the scarves? Or was it the jumpers? What was it? That's a fake holiday. Oh, this is cute though. Hell yeah. Oh, she was pretty creative with the colors. Wonder if Kamba feels a little bit guilty now. Kind of like what I was talking about last week. What are you trying to do, Ringo? Himari? Punch him in the head. Look at me, damn it. Come on now. Eh? This shit kind of slaps when you forget about the incest. Oh, no. Don't bring back the cows. No. Oh, Utana. What a show. Oh, there's the Utana kettle as well. Huh. What are you thinking? Interesting. Where's Kamba? Did Kamba leave or something? You're being weird, bro. Hmm. Okay. The book's something about belonging as well. Don't ask Sanetoshi where you belong. Okay. You don't know anything. Interesting. Huh. Show's really good. How to live without being deceived. Okay, great question. Like a terrorism. Okay, Mario will die. Soon. In mere moments. You want her to burn the diary? Yeah, this is like from her episode. Remember looking into the fire? You talked a big game earlier. I don't know, man. You're kind of weird. It's all that family's fault. Yeah? Okay. Um, we learn a lot in that conversation, especially about Sanatoshi. He can't burn the diary for some reason. Yeah? Well, Kamba's gonna disagree with you a lot. No eyes there in that shot. Thoughts? Himari, what are we doing? You gotta speak to me. I'm getting worried. Where's Super Frog Saves Tokyo? Now that's a book. I like that one. Who's this freak? Looks like Natsume? Yes. I think you're her. Okay. Okay, bye. Welcome in, I guess. Two boldies just having a day. Awkward. Yeah. What are you staring at? Jesus Christ. Well, I remember it was like a sweater. It was like a cake. There was something else. This is such a good scene. These two are just exact opposites. Well, I am. Well, unless I'm not, because that's still a thing. Damn. Damn. Gosh, I must crush her soon. How could you do this to poor Himari? Like, what did she do? Like that shot. Alright, Natsume's like scary. Like, I don't. Ooh, the fan there. Yeah. Okay. What you got there? Blue ball? Blue ball. Well, it's quite the big target, her forehead. Take me to the broiler, please, Himari. I would like to see the child broiler. Oh, this is going to be awkward. Oh, no. What's happening to my poor friend Shorma? Did he just trip over the sheets? Damn. What the fuck? Who the hell just crashed? Natsume? Natsume! What the fuck? What is this video game level? Why does she have Natsume branded balls? Well, she's about to get domed, right? It makes sense for us to learn a little bit more about Himari. Odd. Where's Shorba? Shorba just tripped over the laundry. The broiler. A lot of circles here, right? As well. Are you going to bump your head? And maybe just find out anyway? Okay. Show me something. This is that scene I kind of brought up last week. Yeah, discarded children. Okay. Yeah, they're very matter of fact about it, aren't they? Scarf, knitting. Is this in the wake of everything that happened? Or is this before that? So is this after the terrorism? Yeah. Ooh. Magic apple. Okay, you freaks. So now I thought we were going somewhere like this. Now that's Shorma, right? My soulmate. There you go. Okay, so it wasn't that far off base. I gotta remember this is a different song too, because I think I missed one of them, well, either last week or 2 weeks ago, reading some lyrics. That episode was great. Very stagnant to start, but a lot of really intriguing scenes. And again, Natsume being the aggressor there at the very end. I always felt like, again, all the way back to the kind of Kenzan on the phone type shit, like none of these characters are actually family, you know what I mean? So that means that she felt she was a discarded child before everything. So the discarded child thing wasn't a matter of Double H, or it wasn't a matter of the parents. It was before everything. But then how do the photos make sense? Maybe that's why we're emphasizing on them so much, because they didn't. Did she join a new family at the aquarium? Something like that? Anyway, we'll have another look here, of course. Very cool. Very scary. Huh. And yeah, moving swiftly onwards to episode 20. Yeah, a lot to consider. A lot to consider. Straight back into it. Got episode 20 up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 41 seconds. Seems like we're jumping into a flashback yet again. Picture in picture in the description below. DB file set. Let's dive in. Radio. 3, 2, 1, go. The eve of D-Day, Penguin Forces hideout. Similar doors? Okay. Kenzan, that's like cult leader talk, buddy. Kinda. I mean, you're right, though. Nah, see, that's cult leader talk. Ooh, yeah. Okay, lots of stuff there. Almost like an environmentalism angle to this a little bit, no? Frozen world, melting. You know, the wrong people are in charge. We need to make a change. That kind of stuff, right? And again, like, I'm passionate about, you know, environmentalism and stuff, but not to the point where I'm blowing up any trains or anything. So they're at least a couple of steps from me, I guess. Yeah. Also, the survival strategy angle's interesting there too. Also, we have Momika kind of self-igniting, and even some of the Phoenixy stuff with Ringo as well. Also, yeah, what is the fruit? So it seems like Himari has recollected this regardless of actually being shot. Yeah, Natsume is very interesting here. Kamba smooches his sister. Extra, extra, read all about it. Oh, yeah. A little bit more of a personal edge to that, for sure. Yes, Himari? Got anything for me, buddy? My beloved. He's here. So this sucks for Kamba, right? What sucks for Ringo, too, now that I think about it. This kind of ruins everything. For everybody. So that's why she probably felt nervous, even maybe like unconsciously when she saw Ringo with Shauma last episode. I'm watching Himari's eyes here, no? Well, you're being odd. Yeah? What? Oh, yeah, because you fucking hate the parents. Yeah, I remember. But you don't. Ew. The bubble has burst? He looked very funny there. No way. I think it's too late. No? What else is a soulmate? Fruit? The fruit? Why is this so compelling? Okay, freak. Kiss, fruit, bunny, trash. Huh. Huh. This dialogue funny too. Oh. Ooh. But they say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You still going on about this? He's still going on about this. Remember we had a big moment about it on top of the building. The same as the trash. Okay. This is... yeah. Talk to me more about that, please. Okay. Yeah, a bit of progression from the first one. I thought the name changed. Okay. There's another confirmation. Onisama? Whoa, this is crazy. And Himari's just hanging out. Oh, the drafts, too. The colors, even. Yeah, look at the colors. Okay. Unsuccessful. Sure. What? This shit's insane. Whoa. Look at all the chalk. Utana? Just like me. Yeah, ooh, yeah. Like the kisses or whatever. Ugh. Now, I don't seem to remember a cat being in the show. But sometimes I'm fucking stupid, so... This is just beautiful, though. So... This cat is me, if you didn't know. Hmm. That's fucking terrible. The kitten got put in the kitten broiler? What does running after a truck like that remind you of as well? Think about it. Well, that sucks. Oh no. Yeah. This episode's been crazy. I know. You keep saying as such. Ooh, from the opening. I'm going to the child broiler. Goodbye. Interesting. There's so much I could say. Kanchan? Sunchan? Oh shit. It's like a Utena castle. I want to say something like all the associations that Shorma has had with the mother now make a lot of sense. Whoa. The music too. Holy shit. This song, dude. Holy shit. Please save her. Yeah. Sometimes. Open your eyes. You have been. See, but when does the Kanba of all of it happen? Okay. Ringo's like fucking... That's a trauma dump. Okay, so that's why you feel so guilty too as well. Okay, so still going on about that. You're all broiling up nicely? Curry? Here's a piece of fruit. We're throwing apples in there again? It's that Ringo type shit. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Alright. Thank you for choosing me. Well, I mean, I've got my work cut out for me again. That episode was fantastic. Feeling genuinely emotional about Himari and her circumstance. In a very interesting way, I think we're leaving a lot of details out and kind of relying a lot on fantastical elements to explain it away. Like when we say child broiler, you can think of a number of things that could be happening to children. Again, something children frozen every day. Old mate wants to stop that, Kenzan. Like, read into that how you will. I've got my own theories there, of course, too. Yeah. And again, that's now why... So Shorma wasn't having a pity party about himself. It was because he knew everything. He knew that he was the one that made Himari a Takakura, that basically ruined everything for her. Like, the reason why she can't be in Double H, or be part of Triple H, I guess. The reason why she was chosen to be punished as kind of the retribution of everything that happened. But my thing is like, yeah, where does the Natsume Kamba stuff come into it? Because again, the implication is that they're now siblings, right? Although that was the implication. Yeah, we need to think about that phone call from Kenzan some more as well, I think. For sure. And yeah, as I said, I'll be back probably later tonight to record some more stuff, so... That was insane. That was insane. Again, I said it was time for a couple of shoes to drop. That's definitely what happened. So again, I'll see you in a second for some analysis. And went back, episodes 19 and 20 in the bag. Insane, insanity. Some may say absolute cinema here, of course. Yeah, that went stupid. That went stupid for sure. Just like... The change in the like game state of the show between like the start of this session and the end is insane. Like, it was already implied that there was something weird going on with the Takakura family overall, but to find out that, to my knowledge right now, none of them are related to each other, that's insanity. That's crazy. Tabuki, fucking missing. What? Yuri, still kind of looking for Tabuki. We didn't get a lot of Yuri stuff. Natsume beefing with Himari based on Kamba because Kamba's he's fucking like Kamba's her brother? What? I think that's the implication, right? She definitely said Onisama. That would make sense, right? So I'm cautious to talk about Natsume anymore because I know there's more there. There has to be more there to what's going on. But I'm saying if you slot Kamba into like the slot in the narrative where like Natsume's brother would be, a lot of things start to make sense. Think about her grandfather and how that person may have wanted to influence Kamba at points. So then it becomes another weird question of Kamba's father. Is Kamba's father still Kenzan and it's like a half-brother type situation? Because right now all we know is that Kenzan is definitely Shauma's father. That's all that we know right now. Himari, somebody else entirely. It's weird. We'll get into it. Kamba, we're unsure. Again, that guy... But he had like different hair though. Weird. That it kind of explains everything in a weird way. But then how did it get to the point where Kenzan was then in like custody of all the kids? Or maybe he never was? Like it calls into question flashbacks from like episode 5. What was that scene when they were both trying to save Himari? Do you know what I mean? Like from the rain? What? Yeah, there's still like clearly more here because I've got a lot of questions, but like that's changed everything, right? And I kind of finished the reaction talking about the child broiler in a lot of detail as well. And I think that the child broiler, to my knowledge right now, is a metaphor for poverty. Or I guess like the bad things that happen to children on account of poverty and inequality and corporate greed and, you know, society in general. Definitely has a bit of a human trafficking angle to it as well. Definitely has a abuse angle to it, I think, too. Just kind of this visual manifestation of a kid falling through the gaps and not being loved. And again, kind of Shauma saving her from that is my read. And it's really interesting. Society as presented in this show, or at least in those flashbacks, is a society that is in need of revolution, right? Is a society that you can kind of buy the philosophy of the people that want to do something drastic and change things, you know? Like it's a society that would prefer to sweep things under the rug than actually address underlying issues or anything else that's, you know, going on aside of that, right? I'm thinking about the kind of stray cat as the metaphor there, right? Like we would rather, instead of like helping to house the cat and care for the cat and all that other kind of stuff, we'd rather just put a hard and fast law in place that says you're not allowed to be here. We're just going to kick you out and literally treat you like shit for existing just to get you out of here, just to get like just to not let you be a problem to anybody else anymore. And again, like where the value comes and where the kind of meaning comes there is then ascribing that to Himari and ascribing that to various other social groups that may feel a similar way about society in the moment. You can't help but feel like something has to change, right? And then I kind of went into it as well. I kind of feel like there's an environmental angle to it as well. Again, corporate greed and kind of abusing the environment and kind of hurting the ecosystem and all these other kind of things. They're kind of hand in hand. So I'm thinking a lot of that kind of ties in the same way thematically. That's where, again, I think the penguins are quite poignant. Again, the penguins, if the ice is melting because of global warming, the penguins don't have anywhere to fucking live anymore, right? If we take a penguin metaphor with Natsume from early in the show, you know, there's not going to be a penguin that dives into the water first or slips first to see if there's anything down there. There's not going to be any ice. You guys are just all going to die. There's going to be no safety net, you know? Which I think now, thinking about it, is probably ultimately what they're getting at with that metaphor too. Yeah. I'm going to be here forever if I don't make a start, but there was a lot of stuff in these 2 episodes for sure. That's not even to mention the production of them, which is insanity, especially the music. Holy shit. They turned it on these kind of couple of episodes. So yeah, needless to say, extremely, extremely impressed for sure. So here we are at the start of episode 19, Kanba, the building under construction. A few days ago, it's a surprise. I never thought Tabuki would seek revenge. I hid it through to the end. This is a secret I can't reveal. We start off kind of very smartly replaying some stuff from last episode, kind of almost forcing me into a false sense of security, right? I'm like, oh yeah, this is just kind of catch up, like kind of like retreading old ground type stuff. Kind of replaying that scene where Kanba, again, just pleads with Tabuki that he really doesn't know where his father is and his father can't come out here to help, and none of that stuff, right? When after that, very quickly, it's revealed that, oh my god, he's just here. And mum's here too, which is crazy. So again, I had theories last week that the mum was going to be something else than it seems like she's going to be, so I was wrong there. Hand up accountability. But yeah, this is an insane revelation, of course. We never really spoke about mum and dad and them just being alive and seemingly not at large. I still think they're ultimately hiding out at this noodle place or whatever, right? But this may be like a family friend or something to that effect. But they're just like here. There's no like secrecy to it. They're just kind of like chilling. It's a crazy reveal. Maybe even something here visually with being flanked by two kind of dragons. Something to the parents there. Maybe something good fortune. And Kamba looks down at his hands. This is a symbol of the sacrifice that he's made for his parents now and keeping their identity a secret. It's another sacrifice in a long line of sacrifices that Kamba has made supposedly for the greater good. And everything seems to be coming up Kamba. His dad's proud of him. Mum's caring for him. You did the right thing here. It's easy to forget that they're terrorists, I think. This could be a touching scene if, that wasn't the case. Kamba, we can't return home until you can carry out the mission. Until then, Kamba, you have to protect the Takakura family. This is that symbol that we see in the next episode as well, of that kind of organization that you've made, that you're kind of recruiting people into. They're going to do a terrorism, that kind of thing. So yeah, you have this kind of lovely music playing. Hey, Kamba, you have to care for Shoma and Himari, just remember that. And then Dad kind of clicks his fingers there, and the music kind of goes out, and it becomes like, oh yeah, this is the reality of the situation. You're still kind of in debt here. There's still that Sanatoshi element to this. This is the reality of the sacrifice that you're making. On one end, yeah, it's nice. You're doing all this stuff for your family, and it feels like I'm the hero. It feels like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then reality strikes. Oh shit, I have to actually do the deed here. In that way, does it not feel like Kamba's trapped, Like he can't even get out of what he's in now, right? Just give him the usual, Kamba, you have to do this. Again, it's for your family. It's for this, it's for that. If Kamba does change his mind, I'd be interested to see how people respond, I guess. So we never really get confirmation, but I think the implication is that Himari and Shoma both don't know that they're here, and that they're kind of working through Kamba. In that way, the parents can't return home until they do the deed and fix whatever they need to fix or whatever, right? Because again, think about it from Shoma's perspective. He fucking hates his parents, that they've kind of forced this upon them in a way, right? And by proxy forced Himari to die. There's a direct correlation between the parents and what they did, and Himari bearing the brunt of everything else going on. Again, the whole Merry Little Lamb story that we did do. So again, if Shoma was aware that his parents were alive, then I think he would have some choice words for them, per se. I don't think he would just let sleeping dogs lie. I think something would happen. Also wanted to highlight this last shot of the opening, which now starts to make sense. Again, this plush doll and this apple in the place of Himari. Now we have more context there as to what these actually mean. Again, this was like her childhood plush doll, kind of the thing that was left when she went off to the child broiler and was saved by Shoma. And the apple, the first thing that they shared. Again, we'll get into a lot of that forbidden fruit symbolism too. I am always curious when, kind of in anime, or in fiction in general, we have to write these scenes like the teacher kind of looking at the board and introducing some kind of subject that they're teaching before the scene goes in a different direction. Why did we choose to talk about photosynthesis here? Is that anything? Again, I'm seeing like an environmentalism type thing here, maybe. Either way, Shoma's still pretty bummed out. We see him talking later on with Ringo about, again, feeling a lot of guilt about the Takakura family still, all that kind of stuff. In this particular scene, it manifests through the disappearance of Tabuki, right? Tabuki used to be this kind of normal bloke, affable, nice teacher, we got along well, all that other kind of stuff. But again, this kind of curse that comes along with my family and what they did, and specifically to Momoka, that special connection to Tabuki and to Ringo and to Yuri and all that other kind of stuff, the stuff that you're aware of now, it's continuing to snowball, right? Like, my parents' mistake is affecting everybody in my life in a negative way, and I keep kind of internalizing that. That's kind of what he's doing right now. Shauma looks at the window into the cloudy day. Nice use of a pathetic fallacy there, of course. Before we pan over to Yuri, she sees that a key has been left, as well as a note. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Farewell. Tabuki is missing. He's gone. I would imagine we'll see him again, potentially only briefly, but I don't think he's gone from the show. Again, let's talk about Tabuki here. We kind of did a lot of this last week too, but Tabuki had this complex predicated on his mother about talent and people being better than other people and being special and elevating them. Again, there's a reason in the opening why he's like kissing Momoka's feet, right? He like really puts her on a pedestal, right? So again, this kind of devotion that he has to her has to turn into something when she dies, right? It twists itself into hate, and he starts to hate all the people associated with the people that killed Momoka, right? However, in seeing the love between these people, the love that they share, and it reminding him of Momoka so very much, he changes his tune immediately and sees that he's become the villain in all of this, right? He's kind of twisted in a way. And yeah, this is why he feels guilty now. He just kind of wants a blank slate, I guess. He just doesn't want any Momoka shit. He doesn't want anything else. He's just going to move on with his life. Or, I don't know, whatever else he can do, I guess, too. It's one of the most nonchalant proposal scenes, too, as we dive into a flashback between Tabuki and Yuri, where Yuri suggests a marriage of convenience, right? I think we should be together, again, kind of predicated on that Momoka connection. Of course, you and I are both bound by the Wheel of Fate, that association to Momoka. Momoka is the thing that's binding us together. We will be with Momoka for eternity if we become family. Family? That's impossible. Well, we'll just pretend it first. But eventually, we'll become a real family. Now, do you see why I highlighted those lines? They may become important for another trio of characters in the show. Again, probably ones that we're going to do a lot of reflecting and kind of mirroring between as we kind of dive into the show's climax. This kind of devastation and this special person and this kind of gap, right? And this kind of fake found family thing becoming a real family, right? Something living a lie long enough that it becomes a truth. That seems like something we're getting at broadly overall with the show, especially with the Takakuras. Because doesn't it seem like right now that the lie would be better? Yuri is sitting in her kind of lounge room alone in the rain. Like, this looks terrible. And she says that it can't help but feel fucking cold as hell, right? Wouldn't the lie be better than the truth in this regard, right? And it's interesting that at the end of this episode, when we do what we do, we use the rain to try to, like, get the similar feeling across, this unveiling of the truth of the fake family, right? That this isn't a real family, there's no actual connection here, blah, 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 blah. Natsume there being the major person pushing that along. Yuri vows to, again, make another attempt at this, but she needs the other half of the diary. Of course, the other half of the spell needed to transfer fate. And again, we're bringing up magic in a very specific way now. It's like completely moving away from, reality and into this is like fantasy. This is purely fantasy, right? Where again, I think maybe there was some basis at some point earlier in the show that this thing could be a sci-fi something, or that the kind of, rock over Japan sequence or whatever could be survival strategy sequence, I guess, could be like a metaphor or something. No, now there's legitimately just magic in the show. And yeah, just rounding out this scene, Yuri's sitting at the top here. This room is so cold. Again, at that kind of penthouse at the very top, no light in the room, no nothing. I've gotten all the way to the top, and what has it given me? Nothing. And again, contrast that with the Takakuras all the way down the bottom, and they've got everything. They've got this warmth. Looks a lot nicer here than it does up here, right? Even though it's a little bit, ugly and ramshackle, the house and all that other kind of stuff, it looks a whole lot more inviting than this. Same thing with Natsume later on. She kind of disses the house. I do think there's a class element to this, right? This is classically what would be designated as like a nice room and that kind of thing, right? But ultimately, it's empty. It's an empty feeling kind of thing. What matters is the people that are in it. And again, the connection doesn't matter either. It's just that we all care for each other, right? What else is family, And yeah, continuing to bring up this kind of heat versus cold idea too. I think it's very important. Again, Sun-chan and all that stuff next episode too. In grand Penguindrum fashion, there's always some kind of nice thing that the people do, the family does together before tragedy strikes. I'm thinking about episode 18, was it, when they were doing kind of takoyaki, and then by the end of the episode, people had been kidnapped and shit. It was crazy. I think the implication of the food here as well is that you have used your shady money to get it as well, and you're kind of suspicious about that. Again, you've got a lot more growth to go here, I think. Before they eat, Himari kind of interrupts the dinner and gives the boys their respective presents, right? She's been knitting them sweaters, and let's try them on. I think the found family element to all of this is making me a little bit sad. I really like these interactions between these three now, right? Now that I know that none of this relationship between them is out of obligation, right? It's kind of purer that way, you know? Just a little bit. Like they genuinely do care for each other, and you're genuinely thankful. And again, the knitting things and the scarves and all that other kind of stuff, it has extra significance, again, based on next episode's content. And as I said before, the warmth element to it as well, spreading that warmth, helping to keep each other warm, especially, again, lower socioeconomic, right, where we really struggle with that kind of thing sometimes. Also, the penguins even get in on the action. Look at them. It's just sweet. Love the penguins. There's a really small moment here from Kamba that I really like, right? It's when he realizes that he was wrong about the knitting in the hospital type thing, right? Right here. Like, oh shit. She wasn't knitting for Sanatoshi in a weird way, like I thought that she potentially was, right? She was knitting for me the entire time, and I was being a sourpuss the entire time, and almost a little bit of guilt here as well. Again, she only went out and got extra wool and got kidnapped by Tabuki because of what I said, right? Because I said I didn't like the color or whatever. So, you know, again, coming to this realization here, even if but for a moment, I think is very interesting for his character. This is weird though, like the penguin knitted you like it's like an otter suit or something, and this is like a moray eel. Is this like some Ringo reference type shit? This shit's crazy. This is a really funny comedic moment here as well, where you're trying to get some amount of attention from Shoma based on the small amount you did for the knitting. And again, he's just not reciprocating at all. Way more focused on Himari. And again, that makes a lot of sense now knowing what we know with next episode's content too, and you kind of revealing that to Ringo. Sucks to be Ringo, like, you've got no chance now. These two are, like, almost meant to be, you know? Maybe in a platonic way. Again, soulmate carries connotations, but maybe, kinda, a little bit, sure. It's very subtle here, but something about the perspective just kind of gives you the idea that you're not looking directly at her. And I think that's quite clever. I like that. Just establishing this for later, of course, here as well. Is this pig new? It feels like this pig is kind of new. This feels way more like a Ringo type beat, right? Where, again, this has always been Himari, the giraffe. Where this blue has been associated with Shoma. Again, later on we'll see, like, yellows and blues. And, like, associated with that scene between kind of Himari and Shoma. Shouting out the obligatory Utena reference here with the whole moo type situation. It's in the way that the voice actor says moo as well that I think it becomes very obvious. Again, shoutouts to Utena. Shoutouts to even this pose. You kind of laying down like this like a piece of livestock or something, right? Yeah, very, very interesting. Again, shoutouts to Utena. Fantastic show. This scene here becomes really poignant in retrospect as well. Kind of Ringo gets up and helps Shoma with the dishes. Again, he's just a good boy. He does that kind of stuff. Again, you want to get closer to him, even romantically, to the point where you would volunteer to do such a thing. Makes a lot of sense. Himari sees this and gets kind of jealous and doesn't really understand why. She's like, I don't really get it. Yeah, this kind of shot kind of addresses it really well. Really feels like she's being left out of something in the framing in a way that I really think is pretty cool. Specifically here, she puts on the pink apron that Himari used to use. So it's like, again, I'm being replaced, all that other kind of stuff. The other one I wanted to shout out was this shot back here and this fan. Very child broiler coded too. So again, Himari is seeing somebody else kind of moving on to his soulmate, or her soulmate, I should say, right? But Himari kind of doesn't remember why at the moment. She's kind of suppressed it for some reason. It's unclear. So she sees this, and it kind of makes her heart hurt, and she doesn't really know why. And I think that's really quite a cool sentiment. I really like stuff like that. It's a kind of this trope that I really enjoy, kind of something affecting you emotionally and you not really understanding why in the moment. I think that's really powerful when shown on screen. And you know what else is brilliant, of course, as well? The background. The background's actually brilliant. Look at these colors. You can even infer stuff from that too. By these birds down here. I don't know, liked it. Looks fucking awesome. But more importantly, she sees the other kind of major theme of rejection in her life as she glances over to the TV. She sees Double H living it up, having a great time, right? So I look over there. I no longer belong with my soulmate. So what gives? Look over to the TV. Oh, there's my idol group that I'm no longer a part of either because of terrorism. So fuck me, I guess. Like, this is terrible. This leads to a series of really interesting conversations between Himari and Sanetoshi, right? Where Himari infers that she's not getting better because Sanetoshi has continued to medicate her and sent her home and all this other kind of stuff, but just she doesn't feel like she's getting better, I guess. The association here for Himari is feeling like she's being left out and feeling like she's being forgotten and feeling like she's being discarded almost and feeling like dying. Again, this is more child broiler stuff, right? She doesn't understand it now, but she's feeling those similar feelings that she felt back then, right? That she was unwanted and unloved and like the little kitten, right? Like the world doesn't have a place for me. And associating that with her own death is very interesting, I think. Sanetoshi, almost in a very kind of Mikage type way, tells her to dive a little bit deeper, right? Tell me what's really going on. Well, it feels like I don't belong in my home anymore, right? We have the penguin reading the book here, How to Create Your Comfortable Place of Belonging, right? Again, as the penguins have been a deep dive into a character's psyche, I think this is only apt, right? That she's looking for this kind of thing. Himari reiterates here that all she really wants is to stay together with her family right now. That's all she has ever wanted, right? Sanetoshi plays coy about the whole situation, right? He kind of knows what's going on, at least a little bit, right? But can't really tell her, right? Who knows? I don't know your feelings, your truth, or your past. So I don't know if anything that you're saying is correct or incorrect. Even, yeah, giving a little side eye here, just a little indicator that there may be more to this than meets the eye. And what I think is genius framing is coming straight over the ad break here and having a similar interaction between Natsume and Sanetoshi with like the same framing, the same scene, all that other kind of stuff. Even using this similar book motif as well. As we could see here, reading Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, right? As Natsume is incredulous that there's actually magic involved here, right? She's holding up the diary. Hey, what the fuck is this? Is this a spell? What is happening? Again, Yuri's probably put her onto some shit or something. It's unclear. But Sanetoshi is forthright here. He's just like, yeah, it's magic. It's like Open Sesame or something, right? Again, much like a fictional book with magic in it and all that other kind of stuff, right? This is reality, right? This is what's actually happening here. I also think complete the spell and save your brother's life is very interesting too. Yeah, which brother now, you know? Little shout out to this as well, but the, like, bunny rabbits drinking the kind of drip of, like, carrot juice. Good gear, I like that. Sanetoshi continues in the scene to reiterate that despite me posing as a doctor, I'm actually a magician, right? None of this shit's, there's no, like, actual basis to any of this stuff. It's just fiction. It's just kind of fantasy, right? You gotta think of it like that. Again, Natsume, this character that's been set up in the plot, is so very logic-driven, right? So very capitalist, so very... She's got a process for everything. Just chalking something up to magic isn't going to cut it, right? And probably inadvertently causes her to go on the kind of rampage that she goes on in the second half of this episode. The book here reading How to Live Without Being Deceived, continuing to think that Sanetoshi is leading her astray. Natsume here continued to be concerned with Kanba. What are you going to have him do? I will have the children accomplish what their parents could not. Again, the parents are still kind of here. Sanetoshi pushing you in a certain direction. Again, there's going to be another terrorism, I think. Natsume, not a fan of forcing Kanba to do terrorism, thinks of ways that she can get in the way of this, right? Again, this leads to her doing what she does later in the episode, right? She figures that Himari is the person at the center of all of this, right? If Kanba feels like he needs to continue to do these things to save Himari, then let's take Himari out of the equation, right? But then, au contraire, the kind of underbelly of the conversation is revealed. Sanetoshi wants to convince Natsume to burn the diary of her own volition, because he can't burn it himself. Now, this reveals multiple things, right? One, your major goal is to destroy the diary. Like, you've never wanted to seek the Penguindrum, I guess. That's never been your kind of thing. It's always been the goddess slash Momoko slash Himari's deal, right? It's always been about the Penguindrum, about the diary, all that kind of stuff, right? Sanetoshi, he wants that shit gone. He thinks it's a nuisance. Again, if what I'm broadly seeing at the moment is Sanetoshi's on the same side, if there's sides, as Kanba's father, if you can even call him that. Kenzan, right? Kenzan Takakura. Like, always been on that same side, wanting whatever this attack is to take place. Momoko being on the other side of that, wanting to prevent the tragedy, obviously sacrificing her life in that process, that's my major theory at the moment, stands in opposition. Again, it's that same framing from the opening, right, where they're kind of facing off against each other. Like this kind of stuff, right? Like, there's a reason why the characters are facing each other like that, you know? Like, they're in opposition. So it being revealed to us that, like, he secretly wants this thing destroyed and it's actually a nuisance for him is food for thought. Definitely. I can't win the game with that thing around here, of course. Then in the similar framing that we saw to kind of the grandfather burning the kind of Mario stuff and Natsume stuff and all that other kind of stuff from the flashback episode, we see Natsume in that same position wanting to burn the diary. Again, there's no logical rhyme or reason any of this, none of that, but again, she is held back in a moment from burning it, from thinking, maybe magic is real, maybe there is a chance to save Mario with this thing. Again, that thing that she really wants to do. The framing here being very obvious, Mario, like, literally standing in the way of the diary being burnt, right? Her being reminded of his presence. Holds that diary close to her chest. Kanba, why won't you be here with me? Yes, it's all that family's fault. That girl's fault. Again, we get these kind of 11th hour reveals here, right? That, you know, Natsume actually knows more than she's let on the entire show and really fucking hates Himari and whatever happened there. Again, it's all her fault in this regard. So the connection doesn't exist yet for me. I'm imagining we're going to get into the rest of that at some other point. But how do we get from Shoma, Himari soulmates into Kanba involved? Into Kanba, quote-unquote, leaving Natsume? Like, how does that happen, you know? Small interstitial scene here with Shoma and Kanba discussing things on the train. Shoma declaring that he fucking hates his parents. Kanba thinking they're pretty chill. It's all their fault, our parents. I will never forgive them. Again, we saw the start of the episode. We see what you think about your parents, quote unquote, right? Like, of course, these two are going to clash on this fact at some point, right? The framing is even saying it, right? No eyes for Shoma at the moment, right? Only focused on Kanba's reaction, him being incredulous at this kind of statement, I guess. And similarly here again, Kanba's lack of eyes as he is lying, as Shoma says that he doesn't need his parents. We don't need our parents anymore, right? He's like, yeah, that's correct. Clearly lying. We saw the start of the episode there again. It's clearly still a major point of innovation for you. So for me, this is where timeline gets weird, because we catch back up with Himari. She's in her bedroom just kind of thinking things through, and she sees her photo album and thinks about all the memories that she's made with her siblings, right? But it troubles her. She can't quite make heads or tails of it here at this time. She sleeps on it for but a moment before waking up to the doorbell, and here comes trouble. Again, no eyes in the frame. It's kind of a real motif through this segment. This is very good too. Kind of, gosh, I must crush her soon. And then this gift from the Natsume Corporation kind of invading the frame, right? Kind of, gosh, I must crush her soon. And then, oh, there. It's very aggressive, right? It's very in your face. Again, speaks to the underlying motivation of what Natsume is actually trying to do here. Immediately looking for Kanba, but he's out at the moment. She immediately makes herself at home, walking into the lounge room before calling it all kind of tacky. She doesn't like the look of this place, right? How long does he intend to live in this dump as opposed to living with me? And again, I thought that was very presumptuous, right? As it turns out, no, like, he actually should be living with you considering your family. Again, I'm taking a lot based on this Onisama thing, right? Could be a Japanese thing. You could just be calling like an older boy acquaintance Onisama for reasons, but I'm choosing to believe that this isn't the case. I also like the forehead battle at play here as well, as they both kind of try to outbald each other. I think that's pretty good. Again, trying to think of this from Natsume's perspective, it must be kind of heartbreaking, right? At least in some way. Because you're like the richest person on planet Earth, and you're like obsessed with Kamba. You love Kamba, right? And, you know, he's got a logical connection, a truthful connection with me. He is related to me. He should be with me. But instead, he lives out his days in a fake relationship with another girl in a dump compared to my place. How much must he despise me if he's going to that length to get away from me, you know? It must hurt. It must really, really hurt. Himari here apologizes to Natsume, thinking that this must be some kind of, like, Playboy escapade gone wrong, right? That, you know, you must be looking for revenge. I'm trying to tell you he's not a bad person, all that other kind of stuff. Inadvertently, Himari is exacerbating the issue. Again, like playing this kind of goody two-shoes in the face of her, right? Again, making her feel even worse about this kind of stuff. She says here that he's here to take back a gift, right? Here to take back something, right? And that is love. That is all the love and devotion that I've given to Kamba over a long period of time. I've given him countless presents, right? Even though he refuses to accept any of my love, I continue to give it out to him. It's very, very awkward here, and I do like the penguins kind of reflecting there too. They look appropriately dumpy and dopey there in that scene. Yeah, awkward as well. From here we kind of get to the heart of the conversation, right? Himari offhandedly just says that, oh yeah, this is something that a sister can't do for Kanchan, right? He's got to make those decisions about love himself. Oh, you're still calling yourself his sister, right? That's a good one. But I am his sister. No contraire. Natsume here starting to drop some truth bombs, and here's where we get strange. We get at the blue fucking ball. The remember ball. Oh my god. But I shouldn't gloss over it. I do think this is a powerful moment here as well. Himari being this character that's so very lovely. She's just lovely. I want good things to happen to her, all this other kind of stuff. Here we see her actually pushed, right? Natsume putting words in her mouth, saying that she's like this person that's telling this lie and all this other kind of stuff, right? That her role is to stop Kamba from coming over to me, that being Natsume. And again, Himari doesn't like that. She actually starts to snap here, going for the please leave. The very direct line there as well, no truth can be born from lies. Again, we're talking about that already with the kind of Tabuki Yuri stuff that's going on as well. Sometimes the lie turns into the truth, you know? Sometimes the truth is stronger than the lie in a lot of ways as well. We focus in on this image here at this point as well, which I think is quite funny. This, I don't love frogs, but you've got two frogs? So here's my thing. You two look like you're relatively close here and now, right? But you look almost like a family friend / acquaintance, which I'm guessing you kind of are. Like, is this when you two weren't, or you three weren't technically together as a group yet? What is the impetus for that? That's what I'm kind of missing here. Masterful editing here as well. Ooh, the pink rose there too, lovely. There's kind of this splash of water as Himari's reminiscing is stopped, and Natsume decides enough is enough, right? You have no recollection of what has actually happened. Let me remind you. Let me get out the bowl here and then hunt you down and start going crazy, right? But in commenting about the recollection of it, we get a visual reminder of the child broiler, right? Astute viewers will look at this and think about it immediately, right? And start to put all the pieces together. Oh, you have no recollection of what actually happened that day and who your soulmate is. Right? Your soulmate isn't Kamba. Don't focus on him, all that other kind of stuff, because, again, you've got your guy. Kamba isn't even involved in any of this shit. You can be happy over here with Shoma. Why don't you let me have my Kamba back? Don't know if you've noticed with the show, but there's a lot of blue-red contrast in it. Kamba and Shoma being one of the biggest indicators of that. So again, inverting the color of that red ball to the blue ball to invert its purpose as well. Instead of making people forget things, they now remember things. I think, again, that's very smart and very pointed. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about in a little bit more detail as well is why is Natsume and supposedly her father, or potentially her grandfather, involved in this kind of, what would you say, cult? Yeah, why are they involved? What happened there? Are they bankrolling some of this shit? And it's weird because the vibes that I was getting off of that organization were that they were very much not capitalistic, I guess. I was going to say left-leaning, like far left-leaning, but again, neither here nor there with the evidence in the show. Point being, why are the billionaires interested? Why are they here too, I guess? Other than potentially they were just passionate about it. But if you're passionate about changing the world and you're a fucking billionaire, then you can just change it. So, is there something that potentially billionaires can't even change with money that's at stake here? Maybe. Either way, guns get pointed, foreheads in danger, and I think Shauma and Kamba enter scene shortly after. As the rain starts to pour, the kind of fight in the living room has been discovered, and it turns wacky very quickly. I do like Shauma tripping over laundry, so he can't get involved here immediately, right? He's just kind of useless for a bit. We leave it to Kamba to be the one to stomp Natsume here again, which of course has to sting for you, right? Considering the connection that you two share. I wish she'd just say what she meant. I'm here to take back my love, my past, my truth. I'm here to take back you, Kamba, right? That's what she wants. Now, is there a logical reason for why this turns into a Crash Bandicoot level? Like, I don't think there is, and I think that's fine, but I think it works on a metaphorical level. I could see a lot of stuff with the Wheel of Fate rotating with the kind of spheres here and all that other kind of stuff. It gives it this real kind of like sliding door moment type energy too. It kind of gives the scene the importance that it should have for Himari. The giant round ball could also speak to something Sisyphean maybe as well, about like your struggle against this, that again you can't fight fate, and trying to push that kind of stone uphill indefinitely is the process of fighting fate in a lot of ways. I think that could be a direction you would take it. It could also be a symbol of your overconfidence, your greed, and the overbearing nature of it being this kind of big concrete ball. Because again, you have to look for metaphorical sense, because I don't think it makes any actual sense. I do like Himari here hiding behind the giraffe though. I think that's very pointed. Again, that animal's been associated with her. Now knowing what we know as well, there's some really pointed moments where Kamba calls Natsume by her first name, Masako, which gets her attention every single time. Of course, that's something that she's been missing. It's something that she's been wanting from Kamba. It's almost like he knows this button to push with her. Yeah, that's quite interesting too. From here, it's like this dramatic, heavy breathing, slow-mo chase down of Himari. And I think bringing down the speed for such a eureka moment for Himari in kind of figuring out all this stuff again is a smart move. I do like it, even if it feels a little bit overdramatic. It kind of fits in that similar area to the Tabuki monologuing and being a Bond villain from last episode, right? It's kind of ridiculous, but I think it works. Himari ends up cornered near two fans, again visually invoking the child broiler yet again. I do love the decision here for Himari to remember things on her own terms and not be forced to do so by Natsume, right? Again, in essence, she forced her to do it by putting her in this situation, but it wasn't some magic bullshit that did it. She just kind of figured it out. Kamba here saving the day briefly, but that does not stop Himari from remembering. Seeing those fans rotating, again in a very Wheel of Fate type idea, and flashing back to that time in the child broiler. Himari, child broiler, I remembered. There is someone precious to me. That day in the frozen world, I met my fate. And again, Natsume this entire time bringing up that concept of truth as opposed to what she's living right now, which is a lie. Finally live your own truth, see what actually happened here. Yeah, definitely more and more me picking up on the environmentalism angle, right? That's why we're so cynical about a factory being a literal child broiler, I think, as well, right? Like what we are doing right now with our society is causing children to feel this way inadvertently, right? It's causing children and this income inequality and everything that comes from that, whereby this will happen. You know, I feel like that's what we're trying to say. And in the process, very cynical about like packaging, about like Amazon, about billionaire corporations, about factories. Yeah, lots of stuff there that you can bite into, I think. Especially as well, the child broiler seems like it makes some kind of icy glass-like substance by the very end. Again, in direct contrast to the Himari stuff going on with her name and the warmth and the sunshine motif and all that other kind of stuff. But however, everything's going to be okay if I can take this one scarf with me on my journey. Again, the warmth being given there. I wish I could read what this says as well, all these kind of rotating hiragana there. That would have been nice. Are they even hiragana? I guess so. So the other obvious connection we make here as well is that this is what Momoko did for Tabuki, right? Tabuki was in the child broiler. Momoko saved him, pulled him out, helped him to be the person he is today. And again, that led to a almost cult-like devotion and a servitude for Momoko from Tabuki, right? Himari may have forgotten, but maybe holds similar feelings now for Shoma based off of this, right? At least extending to a romantic I think, right? As evidence through the kind of start of the next episode here too. Hey, you saved me from death. You showed that my life had purpose. You were even the person that gave me this scarf in the first place. Like, all of that stuff has to mean something. So again, as I've said, like, the child broiler isn't like a little child broiler, I don't think. It's a metaphor for the system in general. And again, if I'm going to pull you out of that system, it's going to be through adoption. Come be part of the family with me, right? My parents will adopt you, that kind of thing. Himari rebuts, but I can't be your family. Don't worry, we have magic. The apple is handed over, and again, it's revealed that Shoma is the kind of fated one here. Shor-chan was the one that shared the fruit of fate with me. Fruit of Fate's very interesting because now we're associated with the magic that made us family, right? But it's also the forbidden fruit. It's the thing that the both of us shouldn't have eaten, which has led us to the situation we're in now. We're also tying that into the very nature of humanity. Human nature is to sin. Human nature is to be given a boundary and then to push by it. That is what this concept is trying to say. Shoma here, deeply regretful of this interaction now, knowing what he knows, knowing that he shouldn't have tasted the forbidden fruit, but in that way it's ultimately human in doing so as well. So, again, food for thought, food to unpack. The magic that made us family was also the thing that ultimately drove us apart and drove us to tragedy and will lead Himari to an early grave. I must remember the lyrics for this new song. And again, that episode was called My Soulmate. Everything shines starting today. There must be memories burned into your brain. Hide your love, find your love, endure your loneliness. It's a lie when you say you don't want to amount to anything. Hide and seek distant hope. Hide and seek only shines in bright blue. Hide and seek hating each other. Hide and seek sleep in the same bed without tears. I think mostly it's just speaking to this like concept of them becoming family, I think, and everything that entails. Sure, interesting one. And yeah, it has gotten too hot in my room again, so I will return tomorrow for the rest of this, I guess. Back in and straight into episode 20, the eve of D-Day, Penguin forces hideout inside a certain condo. It all started here. There were many similar doors. It's hard to tell which one's real, which one's righteous. Now that last sentence is very interesting too. Yeah, that may talk to bigger picture stuff, I think, right? We've had a lot of stuff about, like, fake and real, truth and lie. Who is my real family? Who is my found family? That kind of stuff. And again, clearly this is jumping straight off of the revelations at the end of episode 19 around Himari and her origins, I guess. Was that the question? Her soulmate, the child broiler, all that kind of stuff. Noting here the name Penguin Force, this changes to something else later on. It starts with a K, I remember. So we had to change name at a certain point too. This was the eve of D-Day. So the eve of D-Day would imply that the terrorism is going to happen tomorrow, right? Does that mean in the wake of everything that happened, we needed to change our name, but the organization remained? Maybe that's what we're getting at there. We are treated to a monologue from Kenzan, so that's the perspective of the dialogue we're getting here. The world is on the wrong track. Very interesting. This is very in much aligned with the rest of the show, I guess, right? Reading between the lines here, we get a somewhat of a manifesto, you would say, something akin to, like, injustice in the world. Corporate sucks. Paraphrasing, but yeah. The environment, lower socioeconomic class is bearing the brunt of the greed of those above, which is interesting, again, considering the Natsume connection here. Lamenting the lack of action on any topic, just kind of talking about it and letting the status quo persist. Again, they benefit from the status quo, so, you know, why would they touch anything? This is already a frozen world. And what I wanted to get at through this entire section was trying to talk about the visual that we're giving here, right? This very kind of cold, mechanical, unloved, uneven used, like abandoned, like apartment complex, right? I think it does a perfect job of presenting the world as it is now and the world that may need to change, right? If this is what it's like now and it looks this uninviting, and frozen being that key word, then we got to do something to warm this shit up. Fortunately for us, there's a flame of hope still burning strong. Now, this is very interesting too. We see a ton of pairs of shoes and they're all straightened. We'll contrast this with a shot later on where they're all kind of separated and kind of disheveled and that kind of thing. Again, I'm seeing like the wake of the explosion, the wake of the terrorism. We had to like scatter. We couldn't quite be as orderly as we were before, but we still did meet up and exist. This same penguin symbol was on the door of this particular condo as well. Like for me, it's pretty easy to see at the moment that you went to Antarctica, you saw how things were and became inspired from that somewhat, potentially. Like, hey, look at the penguins dying out here or something. Let's wake up. Let's, engage in social justice. And if people don't listen, engage in extreme social justice, I guess. And just the cherry on top of the cake here, this is our survival strategy. This is what we have to do if we're going to continue to exist. Again, tie that into every other instance of a survival strategy in the rest of the show. Jumping back out of the flashback to the present now, Natsume confronting the trio, the Takakuras, about their pretend family. You can't do this forever, right? The reality of the situation, the truth of this situation, will at one point need to reveal itself, right? Again, that's like, it's kind of this whole philosophy of the show almost, like digging into stuff and finding out what's actually going on. And it's funny how, here at this moment, we kind of don't want to do that. Love the presence of the rain here as well, really kind of setting the scene here. The character's not really caring about getting wet, more focused on the drama of it all. I think it's very cool. This whole episode in total, it kind of being cloudy and dark and rainy and foggy and all these, and nighttime sometimes as well, kind of the antithesis of the sun motif that we get later on with Sun-chan and the cat and everything else going on, right? So again, we're building contrast there. Just before Natsume leaves, it seems like we get a genuine break of her character, of her persona here. I will never accept that. It's clear to see now how actually emotionally invested she is in Kamba and being with Kamba and being Kamba's sister, I just love when kind of those jokey characters or those really silly characters like a Natsume, right? She does have a serious side, of course, as well, but I love it when they break that. I love it when they break through with something genuinely real. Just, yeah, small moment, but I really, really enjoy it. Himari wakes up and despite Kamba holding her, she yells out for Shaw-chan, right? She then kind of looks at him like that, and the sun beams down. Again, we will follow this motif through the rest of the episode. It's a pretty obvious one. And this is what I mean when this show gets like very intimidating to talk about, because it's just like 3 or 4 really complex, really broad metaphors going on at the same time, right? So yes, Shaw-chan is the sun, but he's also the person that gave me the forbidden fruit, right? Almost the person that ascribed me humanity in such a way, right? Like, I wasn't a real person. I was like a discarded person before that. I was a discarded child. He was the one that picked me up and brought me into this shit. And again, what comes along with being human, sin, original sin, you inherited the sins of the father in a way, right? You see where I'm going with that too? Yeah, so again, the swings and roundabouts to all of this for sure. Very, very, very smart shot here from the show, right? So we'll come here. We're serving breakfast. Looks pretty extravagant, I must say. A little bit of an egg roll type situation. Love to see it. Either way, Khan's over there. Show's over here. She kind of looks that way, then looks back that way. What do you think? They both say it's good, but first off, she kind of gives attention over to Khan, but I think more concerned with Show overall, just in kind of the editing there. Don't know if it showed that well there, but yeah, you can kind of tell that she's a little bit more enamored with Show after what has happened, right? Shorma. I guess I should use their government names. I'm not their sibling. Yeah, it just might be me looking for it, but again, just a ton of eye contact here. It's kind of the vibe at the moment. And despite Kamba's dirty jokes, again, more concerned about the deliciousness of the miso soup and how it tastes just like mom's. Now, this begs the question, which mom? For sure. Was it the original mom, or was it your new kind of adoptive parent? Yeah. One to follow, maybe. However, Himari made the mistake of mentioning her parents ever, so then Shorma has a little bit of a spat about hating his parents or whatever and the sins and all that kind of stuff, right? So it is a lot more justifiable by the very end of the episode because we kind of dive into Shawma's psyche on the issue. So he sees the kind of Mary had a little lamb. Was it even Mary had a little lamb? That kind of story we had a few episodes ago now. He sees that the parents did what they did. They grabbed something that they shouldn't have and now are being divinely punished for it. Specifically, one of their children is, right? So whenever you say you hate your parents, it's more of a I hate what's happening to Himari because of my parents. But it's also I hate myself because I'm the one that brought Himari in the first place. She would have been child broiled. That's no good, obviously, right? But still, I brought her and kept her in this world when all that is left for her after this fact, or after this point, is death. I feel responsible for her current condition as much as even my parents. Or my parents should, I guess. Yeah, I mean, way to bring the mood down, guy. Just bummed everybody out at breakfast. Straight out of that scene and into the Sanatoshi and Himari variety hour. This is pretty convoluted conversation, so I'll try my very best. We start off very kind of obscure and broad in the dialogue. Describing a love that can't quite meet. If you chase, they run. If you run, they chase. Does that make any sense? We can't live with each other, we can't live without each other, but we're kind of stuck in this purgatory of just moving at that same distance wherever we may go. Himari says that she wouldn't chase if given the opportunity. She would get tired if she continued to chase, So if you wouldn't chase, that means that you're the one that's running every single time, right? We ascribe this to the end of the episode, right, where she kind of runs away from Shawma and his love, right? Towards the child broiler, not wanting to be in his life anymore. Seeing that kind of Sun-chan with the kitten type idea, seeing that the love that somebody gives to something that is designated to be unloved as like a curse, right? So, hey, if ultimately us loving this kitten led to its death, then I'm not going to let anybody else ever get close to me ever again, because all that happens with that is death. That's all I've ever known, right? Death and abandonment, I guess. Again, being the one that runs, Shawma there being the one that chases in this little kind of metaphor. Don't ask what these two are doing in the background either. I'm not even going to begin to try to understand that. Sanatoshi warns Himari here as well. If you're going to always be the one that runs, who's to say that the other person isn't going to be the one that runs as well? Means you won't ever meet. Means you won't ever fall in love, right? And Himari says that she's fine with that, I guess. At least up to this point. But Himari seems unsure of herself. If the other side is running, should I chase? Would chasing help bring this to fruition? And Sanatoshi is unhelpful. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. The chased will never give the fruit to the chaser. Okay, so the fruit is clearly the fruit. It's the piece of fruit. The chased will never give the fruit to the chaser, but the chaser will give the fruit to the chased. Right? And that's kind of what happens. But this conversation will be important for future episodes, I think, right? Where we kind of flip this a little bit, right? If I do want to be with my soulmate in Shawma, right? Will we need to role reverse here at some point? Will I need to be chaser and he need to be chased, and me offer some fruit to him in some kind of way? And the other thing that we're contrasting the fruit with is a kiss. So a kiss is less than a fruit. Let's continue here, I guess. Kisses are perishable, they will be consumed. If I kept kissing without the fruit, I'll end up empty. What's wrong with being empty? If you become empty, you'll be thrown away. Who cares if you get run away? You can kiss 100 times over. Okay, this one's so hard to talk about, man. Because I get it. I get what they're trying to say here. It's the difference between a fleeting, momentary love with a kiss, right? Something, just an action, that kind of thing. Or the fruit, giving something over to somebody else, a little bit more of a genuine feeling, a love type feeling. What Himari wants in all of this is true love, is a genuine love, right? And an unconditional love, I guess, where kisses have a little bit, you know, a little bit of a different connotation to it, I guess. She wants her heart to feel warm, to not be frozen over, and to feel alive. Sanatoshi's advice is to kiss over and over again, just before your heart freezes over and you suffocate. But Himari thinks that's pathetic. Sanatoshi disagrees. Where's the fun if you freeze over without doing anything? If that's the case, wouldn't it be more fun if you freeze over from kisses? Himari asks, what should I do? To which Sanatoshi says only you can decide. Maybe kisses are the only real fruits. This is so fucked. Okay. So, it's a deep philosophical conversation that we're having here, right? Is there anything deeper? Is all we are the things that we do? Do you see where I'm going with this, I guess? Like, yes, maybe kisses being kind of evidence of affection, right? Maybe they are the only real thing here, right? Maybe, again, there's nothing deeper. We're only acting on base impulses, and kisses are the best you can get. But Himari disagrees because she's received a fruit once already before. Again, savior. Even, again, coded as the thing that helps me become human, you know? I've been given this previously from my soulmate, and we share a connection deeper than anyone will ever know. So I continue to wait out for my soulmate or at least something equally special to come around again. And the kisses could be anything. They're not just like literally kisses. It could just be like knitting or, you know, cooking or hanging out with my penguin. Anything that kind of distracts me from any larger existential question about what I'm even doing here. Maybe everything is okay if I just keep doing all that kind of stuff. But Himari here thinks that she should search for something deeper. That's, again, my interpretation of the conversation here. Straight out of that difficult conversation, and we're with Shoma. Shoma's still got the shits because he's thinking about his parents. Again, I went into it. It's more guilt from the parents and him about causing Himari's situation. I chose to save her only to condemn her. And clearly that's what we're getting at with this kind of garbage idea, right? The best friend character. What, we're getting punished? What are we, elementary schoolers? This rubbish had nothing to do with us. We didn't make the rubbish. Why should we have to clean up the mess? This hits a little bit too close to home for Shoma, right? Whose parents left him a whole lot of rubbish and he's still cleaning it up to this day. We just happen to be in the same place. Why are we continually held responsible? It's all their fault. Those bad apples. One rotten apple spoils the bunch. Again, you can see why you're mad, I think, pretty clearly. Love the slogan of this episode too. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Again, clearly invoking Himari here, right? The mother implied ran away, like abandoned Himari and never returned. So, again, she got discarded. She got tossed away. She was a discarded child. But with that child, Shoma found a treasure, right? He is the another man in this kind of analogy, I guess. And of course, he's disgruntled with everybody, especially the adults above him, right? He's like, well, everybody keeps throwing her out, and their kind of actions punish her, and all this other kind of stuff. Fuck them all, I hate them. They're affecting my treasure, Himari. He wants to take all the blame here. If the Takakura family must be blamed at all, put that blame on me. It's completely unfair to put that blame on somebody that isn't actually part of the family, at least by blood. But again, as I keep saying, still a manifestation of that same guilt of saving Himari only to condemn her. Lamenting the sins of the father here is Shoma. Ringo on the other side, hey, no, we went through this a lot in the show. The sins of the father are not the sins of the child, right? I am not Momoko. Remember, that's my whole thing. That's my kind of learning for the show almost, right? But no, it stings deeper for Shoma, right? It's something he can't escape from, and again, we learn as such through the flashback here, through the rest of the episode. Himari was chosen by Mia's family. Kind of the framing device for the rest of the flashback this episode is this conversation here, kind of explaining to Ringo the circumstances, kind of explaining that, I'm going to guess, final secret of the Takakura family. Flashback 10 years ago, Kiga Group's hideout. So we've changed from Penguin Force to Kiga Group. This is where we met. I was alone back then. That's why I found her. So we're in this same location when we met at the start of the episode for the meeting. Part of the city was cleansed by our holy fire on that day, the day of the terrorism, but our goal has yet to be achieved. Society calls us criminals. Ever since that day, many of our comrades have had their freedom unjustly taken away. Comrades is an interesting word too. If you know, you know. This is that similar shot. I'm going to imagine less shoes here, right? Like, hey, again, some of our comrades have been locked away, but also maybe people realize that this shit was in too deep. And if we're actually doing like real terrorism, I probably don't want to be part of the group anymore. Again, less orderly now, more scattershot, again in the wake of the terrorism. However, the flame of hope burning in our hearts cannot be so easily extinguished. Now is the time to lay low. That's why we changed our name to Kiga Group to mislead them. And the change from that kind of rockhopper penguin kind of idea to this more traditional penguin that we've seen everywhere else in the show. Now this is interesting. Is this that same branding that we saw kinda like on all the stuff that's around everywhere? Kiga Group, right? Kind of Pingu Corp logo. Is that like the same thing? And yeah, this is where we get really interesting. Clearly my interpretation here is that you are blood related to Natsume. Again, she calls you Onisama. That would imply to me that, again, you two are blood related. Why is Mario the weird looking freak of the group then? Like, where did that come from? Don't really understand, but sure. Kamba looks at the window and sees Shoma with his scarf on, playing with an apple. Why isn't that boy out there listening to the speech? Probably because he doesn't really care, because he's 10, I guess. That speech is about to get to the important part, about our father. Again, now more confirmation to me that they are blood related. I now see how funny it must have been when I noted the oddity that Natsume's father looked a lot like Kamba. Nadoi. That's kind of funny. In the kind of background here, we also see these kind of memory erasing type dealies. Again, if we were going to use a lot of these to continue our efforts as this kind of organization, then these things would be very handy. The implication of the shot here as well would be that these are kind of from Natsume's family, right? He's like kind of a benefactor here. He's kind of the money behind all of this. Very notably, the apple here has a sticker that is associating it with Kiga Group. Like, hey, when I'm giving you this piece of fruit, this forbidden fruit, you're biting into it and also becoming involved in this organization and all the persecution that's going to come to that organization in the future. That's part of the kind of burden that I'm imparting onto Himari when I save her here. I think this scene, and the rest of the episode from here, is just beautiful. I really love how caring Shoma is here and how kind of helpless Himari is and her kind of opening up over time. I just find that's very moving. I really do like that stuff. Starting here with a mama giraffe putting a baby giraffe down to bed, right? Again, Himari's mother laying Himari down and then promptly never being seen again. I'm reading something like that in this. The combination of the blue and the yellow of the handrail here is very important in that regard as well. The blue of Shoma coming in and starting to envelop the yellow of Himari. Just, it's something of the character placement or something. Maybe even just the band-aid. It's just so sad. The face, maybe the facial expression. Like, it really did get to me. Like, this Himari stuff, man. Something about abandoned kids. I just don't like that shit. You know, just... Mom just up and left? That's fucked up. It really is. And yeah, Shoma here is just a sweetie. Puts the scarf around her, offers an apple in this trying time. Himari at this point seems like she's kind of consigned herself to be here forever and to be abandoned forever, I guess, but Shoma's here to help. How nice is that? Himari here at this point refuses the apple, only to take a bite a little bit later on. Again, all that original sin type stuff being invoked here, even up to the dialogue now. You know, here at this time, denying the fruit, eventually partaking in the fruit, it having kind of a sexual undertone too, if you know, you know. And yeah, moving from that into the rest of her life and feeling somewhat sinful and cursed because of it. Ending the scene here with Himari running away, refusing the apple once again. My life will never bear any fruit on its own, so don't associate with me. Again, part of that dialogue here with Sanetoshi about the chaste and the chaser. She's very much the chased at the moment, right? She's the one that's running. I'd imagine there's somewhat of a time skip here after the ad break. We have Shoma with 2 kind of cartons of milk looking for where Himari might have run off to, right? We find her in the kind of basement looking in this basket here, or this box, at this stray cat. I think this is really evocative as well. I like the kind of chalk art here and the kind of underground of it all, and it being kind of under the sea. That would work too for me, kind of going in the basement and going under the ocean. That's kind of cool. Here comes obvious metaphor kitten. Not going to say it doesn't work, but again, as I said, doesn't take a genius to figure out that the cat is Himari. She feels like a little bit of a stray cat, abandoned, just kind of left on a doorstep. So is this cat, you know? Himari here says that the cat was probably cared for at first, but its cuteness was consumed and it was unneeded after that point. Again, this must be how she feels about her own mother, right? Again, I was cute for a time, but mum kind of got over it, right? It didn't make sense anymore. The lines didn't meet each other of like this being worth it and her being cute enough. So she thinks, hey, I've been discarded. I'm now just like a piece of litter, you know? Same as this cat. Nobody's ever going to care for it, and if somebody did care for it, then bad things would happen, you know? Again, similar to the cat being taken away here, it feels like the same thing's happening with Himari in the here and now. Because I cared for Himari, this unneeded child, this unwanted, consumed, kind of empty vessel, because I did all of that, now we're trying to rectify things. We're trying to take her away from you in turn. She didn't deserve this kind of thing. It wasn't for her, all this other kind of stuff. I do want to say as well, this kind of consuming a person and then casting them aside feels like, again, litter. Feels like something that's disposable, and I think attaches itself very nicely into the overall environmental message I'm seeing with the show, right? Again, on the surface level, a lot of what they're talking about is true. You shouldn't be flippant about overuse of things and should reuse things when possible and so forth, but again, also, you shouldn't do a terrorism, because that just ends up taking away other people as well, like Momika. Like, there's no easy answer here at the moment, I don't think. This sign here emphasizes that no pets are allowed. Please contact superintendent if you see one. A tenant definitely did that and got the cat taken away. Again, apply that to Himari and the rest of the narrative. Himari here also denying the milk, denying the warmth, denying the everything that comes along with that. Again, I'm unwanted, you don't want to associate with me. Milk is an interesting detail as well, kind of attaching itself to the cat idea thusly. Cue the musical montage of the two of them taking care of the cat in their spare time, keeping him warm, almost building a nest for the cat with the scarf here, tying a little bow around its neck, all sorts of good stuff. And the cat kind of being this vehicle to which the two grow closer, right? And start to really enjoy each other's company. It helps Himari come out of her shell somewhat as well. It's quite beautiful. It comes to naming the cat, and then we do a very obvious thing here, right? Himari's name is like Hidamari, which means sunny spot. So, in a very similar way, we're going to name the cat Sunchan, right? It shares similar qualities, it's warm, and again further associates you two with each other in the narrative. So when the cat gets stolen away, we understand what that means for you later on. There's another fun cut here, kind of this transitional thing that I keep kind of noting. Like, look at the face here. See? I think that's very charming, I really do. Just kind of the lack of the frames there. However, just as we're getting attached to the cat, turns out that the authorities find it and dispose of it, right? The sign says that a cat was found recently, you know, you will not be asked again, all that other kind of stuff. And yeah, kind of left without its ribbon, without the scarf. Again, the scarf being important to finding Himari in the child broiler, right? This is kind of her ribbon, per se, yeah. And yeah, that kind of littering metaphor comes full circle here when we see the box that the cat was in thrown literally straight into the garbage and disposed of, you know? I feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again. More importantly, this is a different penguin up here. So the one that I've been associating with Pingu Corp is different from the one that's Penguin Force, I guess. I noted in the reaction here as well that it's very notable that this is another scene whereby we're chasing after a truck that has taken Himari from us, I think, right? Like, think about the scene very early in the show where Kamba was chasing down the headdress with great gusto and vigor. This is a very similar thing. Again, the cat representing Himari in this regard. Also noting the weather, it's kind of this frozen world outside, this uncaring world, no sun in the sky, nothing of the sort. Hey, this is your lot in life, you know? I love Himari's face here as well. She's just kind of like, oh, well, that's what I get for loving things. It's kind of, yeah, so tragic it makes me kind of have to laugh. Himari says it's not your fault, it's just kind of its fate, right? It was unchosen, as opposed to chosen. That means it had to go. It's very funny how we're attaching that into what kind of Kenzan was talking about in kind of the monologue at the start of the episode, that he laments the fact that there are chosen and unchosen. He wants to change fate, change the world, put the world on the right track to the point where this doesn't happen anymore. And again, read between the lines here, I think that's away from a, larger income inequality capitalism type sense and more towards a less income inequality type of sense, maybe associated with a different type of government. Maybe. That's what I'm kind of seeing being gotten at here. Is this going to wokeify Shauma, is my question, I guess. Not to the point where you would start killing people, though, because that's what has led to Himari being kind of forsaken. The last thing we kind of see of Himari here is this plush doll with the note on it, right? To show goodbye. We kind of go into the letter a little bit more as we continue, but I like the kind of idea of this plush doll being left as this representation of Himari, like this facsimile, this kind of puppet of her in her place. I think that's very in fitting with the rest of the plushes and their use in the show, I think. I think it fits quite well. The letter here mentions the child broiler, to which point, Shauma asks his father, "The child broiler is the destination of children abandoned by society. We can't do anything to save them. It's a frozen world. What will happen to children who go there? They never return. They're discarded. They become invisible. They never amount to anything, and they get turned into like this glass-like kind of snow-like substance. Many children are turning invisible even as we speak. This world is on a wrong track for allowing it to happen." And Shauma doesn't even listen to the rest. He runs away. Hey, if this is what's going to happen to Himari, I have to stop this. I have to go save her. If she's going to die, let me be the chaser. Let me be the one that saves her, This is what I mean when I said kind of early in the video where the child broiler is clearly the impact of society, like on children. It's not literally a broiler for children, is my point. Like, it's, as I've spoken about, abuse, sexual, physical, otherwise, trafficking, child trafficking, just kind of poverty affecting them and how they live. Just kind of this perpetual trap that they find themselves placed in based on their circumstance, tying that into the fate theme with a lot of the rest of the show. And again, this kind of organization that kind of Kenzan is running, being largely in opposition to this, being sick of society and sick of people just standing around doing nothing about it and wanting to take charge and wanting to incite change, The system is fucked up, we must break the system, all that kind of stuff. Starting to sound a little bit like Utena there as well, which is great. From here, the rest of the episode really is quite effective. It's kind of this continuous build of the sequence, this continuous kind of build in the soundtrack as well, whereby we go and save Himari from the child broiler. At the starting point, we kind of get kind of narrated from this letter from Himari to Shauma. "I was really happy when you first talked to me. Ever since I've been waiting for you there. My mum never returned, but instead I got you." Again, the start of the episode in the miso soup type idea. Kind of this letter is just this continuous thank for Shauma and his care, right? Like, the care that you gave me and Sun-chan, we were like a family. It was fun. Now, is there something with naming the cat Sun-chan and having Kan-chan in the show as well with Kanba? Like, hey, it was like a family, me, you, and Sun-chan. It was like a family, me, you, and Kan-chan, right? It was like a family and it was fun. I think that's a connection we're trying to make. Either way, I'll take this scarf as a kind of memento of our interaction. I'll treasure our encounter forever. The art of this sequence is just out of this world. This is very almost Castle in the Sky Utena type ideas as well. Kind of this being the factory, this being the kind of the enigmatic child broiler in question. Just this kind of factory whereby children get broiled. Again, from here, the soundtrack kicking into overdrive. The direction of the sequence, fantastic as well. Love the uncaring nature of the way the factory is moving. Just kind of, it feels like a factory. It feels like this machine that doesn't consider the human impact to any of it. Interestingly enough, it seems in the dialogue of the letter, Himari has found some semblance of eternity in the love that they've had between each other, Shauma and Himari, right? Like, hey, no matter what happens to me, if I go invisible, if I get melted into something else or whatever, like, I have this, and they can't take this away from me, right? I feel like this relationship is transcendent, There will always be somebody that remembers I exist, so therefore I will have value. Therefore, I will continue to exist in essence. Again, eternity, like I've talked about. Just somebody knowledgeable that I happened to be on this earth at some point. I think, again, like, that being your happy ending is insane. And again, Shauma saving her here is completely justified in that regard. Shauma diving deeper and deeper into the factory, trying to find Himari, and happening upon her just in the nick of time. Kind of, I love this light, like the sunrise coming up as we save her as well. I think that's quite effective. Himari here says that she actually knew the story of the first man and woman. Those two were punished. Again, they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden here, of course. To live is punishment in itself, but even if it is, I wanted to be with Sho. You should tell Sho that, because he's pretty bummed out about this whole situation about you dying, and again, blames his parents so very much. If you said to him that you're okay with the at least little bit of life that you've had because of him, I'm sure that would make him very happy. Why do I feel like, knowing what I know now, I can kind of go back and see those early episodes and what Shauma's talking about and read so much more into it? I feel like I really can, you know? Like, I just feel like there will be stuff there for me. And again, here at this moment, she takes that forbidden fruit. She even takes him by the hand here as well. How scandalous. And yeah, the original sin is committed. The die is cast. Finally out of the flashback now, and yeah, Ringo kind of trying to process what she's now learned, right? I was the one that chose her. I was the one that turned Himari into a Takakura, made her inherit that name, and again, all the baggage that came across with it later on. And again, the eventual divine punishment for the father's deeds, you know? Here and now, it seems that Kenzan thinks the same things that he always has. Invisible children. Children are being turned invisible even now. We cannot possibly forgive this world for allowing it to happen. Thus, we must cleanse the world for the inevitable judgment day. Oh my god. So we're going bigger and bigger and bigger, I guess. Kamba notably looking down at his wound on his hand, this kind of symbol of the things that he is willing to sacrifice for Himari, for invisible children, again, interpreting so much of that same philosophy as Kenzan. Himari absolutely needs money for her treatment. I'm the only one that can save her. And yeah, here at this point, apparently it's curry day, or not even curry day, she just feels like making curry, specifically with Apple, kind of that Ringo connection to very early in the show as well, kind of ascribing the curry with a lot of that kind of forbidden fruit type energy, continuing to imbibe on that forbidden fruit even up till now, and again, paying the price because of it. But yeah, they're having a, you know, great old time, these two, you know. Again, here's my thing. If this is your life now, however fleeting it may be, versus your life before, then I think objectively Shauma's still done a good thing by saving you. You know, he may be all down in the dumps about it and all that kind of stuff, but is it more tragic to give somebody a taste of the good life before having it end? Or is it worse to never experience it at all? That's kind of the question we need to come at this from as well. And yeah, kind of ending the episode here. Thank you for choosing me, ending on that shot of the apple in the pot there as well. Yeah, look at the text staying there too. Very, very cool. We're going to leave that here and now. What a set of 2 episodes. This show really, 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 really is good. Like, I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. Now I got to fucking edit this. Jesus Christ. Anyway, this was a pleasure. I really, really do love this show. I just want to keep saying it. 2 more weeks. Can't see how they're going to fuck it up. I love everything that they're doing with the show. I continue to like it a lot. Huge revelations here this week. Onwards and upwards, I guess. See you next week. Thanks for watching. Patreon, Discord. Like the video, subscribe. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.